Good morning everybody and welcome to another Wednesday. We've talked about lots of different things over the last few weeks. Last week specifically we talked about different ways that we can help ourselves when we're experiencing anxiety. So I thought this week would be good to talk about different ways that we can help other people when other people are experiencing anxiety and how we can be of help and of comfort to them. So like last week I'm going to offer 5 tips I guess for different ways that you can help other people. The first is to just validate how they feel. It can be really easy if someone's upset or worried to say, oh, don't you worry, there's nothing to worry about, oh, don't stress, it's all going to be okay. And all of those things are meant really well when we say them, but actually when someone's experiencing anxiety, it's really important that we make that person feel valid and that we help that person to know that the way they feel is seen and that they're heard. Even if perhaps the person's reasons for feeling anxious don't feel like reasons they should feel worried, or perhaps they're not worried for any particular reason, we still need to help that person feel like they are known and loved and seen, and that the way they're feeling is understood by us. The next is about the different ways that you can offer help to that person, and there's 3 ways to go about it, and it's really important that we make sure that the person that they're trying to help knows that those options are available. Sometimes they might need space, and so perhaps we just need to let them know we're there for them, but let them be by themselves for a bit. Sometimes they might just need an ear. They might not necessarily want us to give them advice, but they might just want us to sit and listen to them talk and just sit with them, be a listening ear, be a shoulder for them to cry on. And the third is to encourage and offer advice. Sometimes we're not going to know exactly what words to have, sometimes we're not going to know what the solution is, but the best we can do is to offer to be there for them, perhaps to offer suggestions if we feel like we can do that. But those 3 different ways, it's really important that we make sure the person we're helping knows that those are available to them, and to not pressure that person to feel like they need to talk if they don't want to either. The next is to check in on them. If you've sat and had a conversation with that person, perhaps they might feel a little bit better after that, but that doesn't necessarily mean their anxiety's gone away completely. Over the next few days, just touch base with them, see how they're doing, offer another phone call, offer another catch-up. For a person that's feeling anxious, just knowing that there's someone there for them, that there's someone thinking about them and wanting to help them, that can make such a huge difference to that person's life, and be such an important part of that person working through that anxiety. And finally is to pray for that person, whether that's with them or just privately by yourself. God can take away our anxieties, and the presence of God is peace, and so we can be praying for that person to feel the peace of God, and praying for that person to see God's goodness through the things that they're experiencing, even if they're finding that really, really difficult. So keep praying for them, and offer to pray with them as well. Another thing that you could potentially do if that person has asked for your advice and stuff is to talk to them about the things we spoke about last week, the ways that we can help ourselves when we experience anxiety. They're not necessarily foolproof ways to cure anxiety, but they're ways that you could offer to somebody if they need help working through something. Another really important thing to note is if we're helping someone with anxiety, if we're walking alongside someone who's experiencing that, it's not our sole responsibility to save that person from that anxiety. It's not our job to fix that person. And the person who's experiencing anxiety isn't going to want you to feel like that's your responsibility either. So often when we're experiencing anxiety, all we need from another person is just to know that someone's there, someone that we know we can turn to for support and advice or just a hug. And so don't put pressure on yourself to be fixing that person, because that's not necessarily going to happen, but just be mindful to be there and be who that person needs you to be in that moment. Things like anxiety and fear and doubt and worry, they're so common today, and they're things that all of us experience. And so it's really important that we're there for each other and looking out for one another in the good times and in the bad and scary and weird times, like when we're experiencing anxiety. So these aren't the foolproof ways of doing things, but these are just a few suggestions of ways that we can support one another through periods of worry or doubt or anxiety. I really hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you all soon. If you have any more questions about different ways that you can be helping those with anxiety, then do drop me a message, and I'd really love to help you out with that. See you all soon.